Ferrari Daytona SP3, the last breath of Ferrari's naturally aspirated V12 soul, frozen in carbon fiber. Built for an electrified future, powered by the glorious past. The Ferrari Daytona SP3 arrived in 2021 as a defiant celebration of naturally aspirated V12 engineering, precisely when the automotive world seemed ready to abandon it forever. With its Targa roof removed and those spectacular butterfly doors swung skyward, the Daytona SP3 presents itself as a rolling sculpture that happens to contain the most powerful naturally aspirated engine Ferrari has ever built, a screaming 6.5-litre V12 producing 850 RPM, 250 RPM. This is not a restomod or a retro pastiche, but rather a thoroughly modern interpretation of Ferrari's legendary 1960s sports prototypes, particularly the 30P34 and 41.2P that achieved the famous 1-2-2-3 finish at the 1967 24 Hours of Daytona. As the second model in Ferrari's ultra-exclusive Icona series, the Daytona SP3 occupies the absolute pinnacle of Maranello's hierarchy, above even limited-run hypercars like the LaFerrari. Only 599 examples were produced between 2022 and 2024, each priced at $2.25 million and sold exclusively by invitation before production even began. Within months, secondary market values climbed to $3 to $4 million, and in August 2025, a special 599+1 charity example commanded $26 million at auction, setting the record for the highest-priced new Ferrari ever sold. The Daytona SP3 represents something increasingly rare in modern automotive engineering: uncompromising commitment to mechanical purity over hybrid efficiency, to sculptural beauty over wind tunnel optimization, to the visceral experience of a naturally aspirated V12 revving to 9,500 RPM in an era when such engines face extinction. It is simultaneously a tribute to Ferrari's racing heritage and potentially the final chapter in the story of mid-mounted V2 road cars from Maranello. The genesis of the Daytona SP3 traces back to 2018, shortly after Ferrari launched the Monza SP1 and SP2 as the inaugural models in the new Icona series. While the Monza celebrated front-engined barchettas, Ferrari's design team under Chief Design Officer Flavio Manzoni identified another golden era worthy of homage: the mid-rear-engined V2 sports prototypes that dominated endurance racing in the 1960s. The specific inspiration came from Ferrari's legendary 1-2-2-3 finish at the 1967 24 Hours of Daytona, where the 30P34, 3030P4 and 412P crossed the line in formation, creating one of motorsport's most iconic photographs. Rather than creating a literal recreation, Manzoni's team sought to distill the essence and spirit of those racing prototypes into a contemporary art object. The development philosophy prioritized three key objectives: extracting maximum power from a naturally aspirated V12 engine, achieving exceptional lightweight construction using Formula One-derived carbon fiber technologies, and creating exceptional aerodynamic efficiency using only passive solutions without active devices. The architecture borrowed from the LaFerrari platform but eliminated the hybrid system entirely, returning to pure mechanical propulsion with a mid-rear V12 layout not seen in a Ferrari road car since the Enzo in 2002. Manzoni, a Sardinian-born architect who joined Ferrari in 2010, personally oversaw the project with a design-driven approach that inverted traditional automotive development. Rather than letting engineering constraints dictate styling, the design team created the sculptural form they desired, then challenged engineers to make it work. Exterior design was led by Carlo Palazzani, while Fabio Massari crafted the interior. The result emerged as something unprecedented: a car that looked simultaneously retro-futuristic, where 1960s racing purity met 2020's technological sophistication. Chapter 3: Sculpture in motion. The Daytona SP3's design language represents Flavio Manzoni's philosophy of formal purity taken to its ultimate expression. Every surface flows with purpose. Every line serves both aesthetic and aerodynamic function, creating what Manzoni describes as a three-dimensional sculpture rather than a conventional automobile. The front fascia features retractable headlight covers that recall the pop-up headlights of classic supercars while maintaining modern aerodynamic efficiency. When raised, these covers create a smooth, uninterrupted surface that channels air over the low-slung nose. The most dramatic design element arrives with the butterfly doors, which swing upward and outward in a spectacular gesture that transforms the car's presence. Unlike traditional butterfly doors, these integrate the air intakes for the radiators, eliminating conventional side scoops and creating impossibly clean flanks. This innovation required relocating the cooling system entirely into the door structure, a packaging challenge that exemplifies the design-first approach. The doors themselves employ T1000 carbon fiber, the most advanced composite material Ferrari has used in production, saving weight while maintaining structural integrity. The Targa top configuration provides open-air motoring while retaining structural rigidity through a carbon fiber monocoque chassis constructed from T800 carbon fiber. The removable hard-top stores in a custom-fitted luggage set, maintaining the car's sculptural purity when removed. At the rear, a distinctive flying buttress design channels air through vertical ducts, creating the signature silhouette that directly references the 1960s prototypes. The rear wing features integrated louvers that extract low-pressure air from innovative underbody chimneys, generating 500 pounds of downforce at 125 mph using purely passive aerodynamics. Measuring 2,050 mm wide at the rear, the Daytona SP3 presents a purposefully low, wide stance that emphasizes its mid-engine racing heritage, while the smooth, uninterrupted surfaces showcase contemporary design sophistication. At the mechanical heart of the Daytona SP3 lies the F140hc V12 engine, a 6.5-litre naturally aspirated masterpiece that represents the pinnacle of Ferrari's internal combustion engineering. Producing 840 PS equivalent to 809 horsepower or 608 kilowatts at a stratospheric 9,250 RPM, this engine claims the title of most powerful, naturally aspirated power plant ever created by Ferrari. Peak torque arrives at 697 Newton-meters, or 514 pound-feet at 7,250 RPM, with the red line extending to 9,500 RPM, where the V12 produces a sound that enthusiasts describe as automotive symphony. The engine employs titanium connecting rods and aluminum components throughout, obsessively weight-optimized while maintaining the durability required for road use. Power transmits through a 7-speed F1 dual-clutch transmission mounted in the rear transaxle configuration, executing shifts in under 200 milliseconds with the precision of Ferrari's Formula One technology. The chassis consists entirely of carbon fiber, with the main tub constructed from T800 carbon fiber, while doors and sills employ the even more advanced T1000 specification. This construction philosophy, derived directly from Formula One monocoque design, provides exceptional rigidity while minimizing weight. The suspension geometry and calibration prioritize the pure, unfiltered feedback that defines Ferrari's greatest mid-engine cars, with the integrated seat design placing drivers in a fixed racing position while the pedal box adjusts for optimal weight distribution. The interior features a 16-inch curved HD touchscreen that controls 80% of vehicle functions without requiring hand movement from the steering wheel, blending modern interface design with traditional Ferrari switchgear. Alcantara trim covers most surfaces, with exposed carbon fiber adorning the dashboard and center console. Every component serves the singular purpose of creating the most engaging, naturally aspirated V12 driving experience possible, without hybrid assistance, without turbocharging, without compromise to the purity of mechanical connection between driver and machine. Chapter 5: Visceral Performance Redefined. The performance specifications of the Daytona SP3 tell only part of the story, though the numbers themselves command respect. Acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour, 62 miles per hour in American terms, requires just 2.85 seconds, while the sprint to 200 km per hour, or 24 miles per hour, takes only 7.4 seconds. Top speed exceeds 340 km per hour, equivalent to 211 miles per hour, though Ferrari characteristically declines to pursue outright top speed records. What distinguishes the Daytona SP3 from turbocharged or hybrid competitors is not ultimate acceleration figures, but rather the delivery of that performance. The naturally aspirated V12 responds instantaneously to throttle inputs without turbo lag or electric motor intervention, building power linearly and relentlessly as the tachometer needle sweeps toward that 9,500 RPM redline. The passive aerodynamic system generates 500 pounds of downforce at 105 miles per hour without active wings or adjustable elements, providing stability and confidence at high speeds while maintaining the car's clean sculptural lines. The innovative underbody chimneys extract low-pressure air through vertical ducts to the rear wing louvers, creating downforce while improving cooling efficiency. On the road, the Daytona SP3 delivers what Ferrari describes as a pure, unfiltered driving experience. The steering provides direct communicative feedback through the thin-rimmed wheel, while the suspension transmits road surface information without harshness. The mid-rear engine placement creates neutral handling balance, allowing drivers to adjust the car's attitude with throttle and steering inputs in the classical Ferrari manner. With the targa top removed, the V12's mechanical symphony floods the cabin, the intake roar and exhaust note combining in a crescendo that builds with engine speed. This represents performance as visceral experience rather than mere numbers, engaging all senses in the act of driving rather than simply achieving acceleration benchmarks. Ferrari announced production of precisely 59 units of the Daytona SP3, a number that immediately established the car as one of Maranello's most exclusive modern offerings. The limitation to 599 examples was not arbitrary, but carefully calculated to maintain ultimate exclusivity while allowing Ferrari's most devoted collectors access to the Icona series. Every single unit sold before production began in 2022, allocated exclusively by invitation at a base price of $2.25 million. Ferrari's marketing head Enrico Galliera confirmed that all 499 owners of the previous Monza SP1 and SP2 models received priority allocation, with the remaining 100 units distributed to collectors with significant Ferrari purchase history, reportedly requiring approximately $30 million in prior Ferrari acquisitions to qualify for consideration. Production spanned from 2022 through 2024, with each car built to exacting specifications at Ferrari's Maranello facility. Deliveries extended into 2025 as Ferrari's tailor-made personalization program allowed virtually unlimited customization, ensuring that no two examples emerged identical. Clients could specify unique paint colors, interior materials, stitching patterns, carbon fiber finishes, and commemorative details, transforming each Daytona SP3 into a bespoke creation. In August 2025, Ferrari created a special 599+1 example for charity auction, featuring a distinctive two-tone livery combining exposed carbon fiber with giallo Modena yellow. This unique car became the first Ferrari road car to feature the iconic Ferrari logotype as a livery element, with proceeds benefiting the Ferrari Foundation. Notable owners include Piero Ferrari, son of company founder Enzo Ferrari, who commissioned a special tribute to 1964. Formula One driver Carlos Sainz received a custom-configured example, while another car bears signatures from both Sainz and teammate Charles Leclerc on the engine cover. Chassis 345543 served as the prototype and debut car at the November 2021 Mugello unveiling, driven alongside the original 330p4s in a choreographed recreation of the legendary 1967 Daytona photo finish. Chapter 7 – Icon of Aspiration. From its dramatic unveiling at Mugello circuit during the 2021 Ferrari Finale Mondiale, the Daytona SP3 captured global attention and became an instant cultural phenomenon. Automotive media outlets worldwide featured the car extensively, with journalists praising both its stunning design and the commitment to naturally aspirated V12 power in an increasingly electrified landscape. YouTube Automotive channels produced detailed walk-around videos and analysis content that accumulated millions of views, while social media platforms filled with images and discussions of the car's sculptural beauty. The Daytona SP3 appeared in the mobile racing game Real Racing 3 in a December 2022 update, introducing the car to gaming audiences and younger enthusiasts who might never experience the physical vehicle. Beyond automotive enthusiast circles, the Daytona SP3 penetrated broader luxury culture as a symbol of extreme wealth and exclusivity. Fashion magazines and lifestyle publications featured the car alongside haute couture and fine watchmaking, positioning it as the ultimate expression of Italian craftsmanship and design excellence. The design work of Flavio Manzoni and his team earned numerous Red Dot Awards and design competition recognitions, establishing the Daytona SP3 as a benchmark for automotive aesthetics. The August 2025 charity auction of the 599+1 example generated significant mainstream media coverage when it achieved $26 million, the highest price ever paid for a new Ferrari at auction. This event transcended automotive news to appear in general business and luxury lifestyle coverage, demonstrating Ferrari's continued ability to command unprecedented prices while supporting philanthropic causes through the Ferrari Foundation. The car reinforced Ferrari's position as the ultimate aspirational brand, representing not merely transportation or even performance, but rather a form of rolling art that few would ever access. As potentially the last naturally aspirated mid-engine V12 Ferrari, the Daytona SP3 achieved cultural significance as the swan song of an era, a final celebration of internal combustion purity before inevitable electrification. Unlike many limited-edition Ferraris that trace lineage to competition vehicles or spawn racing variants, the Daytona SP3 was never intended for motorsport participation. The car exists purely as a road-legal tribute to Ferrari's legendary 1960s sports racing prototypes, celebrating their achievements rather than attempting to replicate their competition purpose. The inspiration draws specifically from the 30p34, 33p4, and 4112p that achieved Ferrari's famous 1-2-3 formation finish at the 1967 24 Hours of Daytona, one of motorsport's most iconic moments. These prototypes represented the pinnacle of closed-wheel endurance racing, battling Ford's GT40 program in an era when factory teams fielded purpose-built race cars with thundering V12 engines and minimal weight. The Daytona SP3's design language references these prototypes through its flying buttress rear architecture, low-slung proportions, and mid-mounted V12 configuration, but translates these elements into a thoroughly modern context with contemporary safety standards, comfort features, and road car usability. Ferrari organized the November 2021 unveiling at Mugello Circuit to emphasize this connection, driving the new SP3 alongside three original prototypes, 330p4 chassis, 856 and 858, plus 412p chassis, 0844, in a choreographed recreation of the 1967 Daytona photo finish. The car has performed exhibition laps at various circuits, including Mugello and Monza, demonstrating its dynamic capabilities in controlled environments, but these appearances serve promotional and celebratory purposes rather than competitive ones. No customer racing program exists, no competition variants were developed, and Ferrari explicitly designed the Daytona SP3 for collector ownership and road use rather than track competition. The racing connection remains purely inspirational and historical, linking modern engineering capabilities to the golden age of sports prototype racing. In this sense, the Daytona SP3 represents Ferrari's unique ability to honor its competition heritage while creating contemporary machines that stand as art objects and engineering showcases rather than tools for winning races. Chapter 9: Investment-Grade Masterpiece. The market performance of the Daytona SP3 has exceeded even Ferrari's optimistic projections, establishing new benchmarks for modern limited edition collectability. From the original $2.25 million base price announced in 2021, secondary market values climbed rapidly to $3.4 million within months of the first deliveries, representing immediate appreciation of 33 to 78%. This trajectory reflects multiple factors converging to create exceptional desirability: the ultra-limited production of only 599 units, the invitation-only allocation process that excluded most potential buyers, and the car's significance as potentially the last naturally aspirated mid-engine V2 Ferrari before full electrification. The August 2025 charity auction of the special 599+1 example established a stunning new benchmark when it achieved $26 million at RM Sotheby's Monterey sale, setting the record for the highest-priced new Ferrari ever sold at auction. While this charity example featured unique specifications and the proceeds benefited the Ferrari Foundation, the result demonstrated the extreme upper boundary of Daytona SP3 valuation potential. Investment analysts and collector car specialists consistently rank the Daytona SP3 among the most desirable modern Ferraris, citing its combination of limited production, technological significance, and design excellence. The car's collectability stems from multiple attributes. It represents the most powerful naturally aspirated engine Ferrari has ever produced. It concludes the Icona series celebration of naturally aspirated V12 power, and each example received extensive tailor-made customization, making every car unique. The preference given to Monza SP1, SP2 owners created an exclusive ownership lineage, with the most devoted Ferrari collectors forming a tight community around the Icona series. Market observers predict continued value appreciation as the significance of the last naturally aspirated V12 era becomes increasingly apparent. Museums and private collections worldwide seek examples, though the limited production and devoted ownership base means few cars ever reach the market, further constraining supply and supporting values. The legacy of the Ferrari Daytona SP3 extends far beyond its production numbers or performance specifications to represent a pivotal moment in automotive history. As Ferrari transitions toward hybrid and fully electric powertrains across its model range, the Daytona SP3 stands as a defiant final statement about the purity and visceral appeal of naturally aspirated internal combustion engines. The car demonstrated that traditional engineering approaches could still achieve record-breaking outputs. 84e horsepower from natural aspiration, In an era when competitors increasingly relied on turbocharging and electrification to boost performance. This achievement validated Ferrari's commitment to mechanical excellence and proved that the emotional connection of a screaming V12 revving to 9,500 RPM retained value even as regulations and market forces pushed toward electrification. The Daytona SP3 established Ferrari's Icona series as the absolute pinnacle of Maranello's hierarchy, a tier above even limited-run hypercars where invitation-only allocation and 8-figure pricing created unprecedented exclusivity. The design language pioneered by Flavio Manzoni's team influenced subsequent Ferrari models and demonstrated that retro inspiration could produce futuristic results rather than nostalgic pastiche. The car's engineering innovations, particularly in passive aerodynamics and Formula One-derived carbon fiber construction, will inform future performance car development even as powertrains evolve. The design-driven development philosophy, where styling dictated engineering constraints rather than the reverse, set new precedents for special series vehicles and showed that emotional appeal could triumph over pure functionality. For collectors and enthusiasts, the Daytona SP3 serves as a bridge between Ferrari's glorious racing past and its technologically advanced future, honoring the 1960s sports prototypes while showcasing contemporary engineering capabilities. As potentially the final mid-mounted, naturally aspirated V12 Ferrari road car, the Daytona SP3 will be remembered as the culmination of a bloodline stretching back decades, the ultimate expression of a formula that defined Ferrari's identity, a screaming V12 behind the driver, rear-wheel drive, and uncompromising commitment to driving purity above all else.